Whispers of Shadow presents, written and narrated by Gregory Sparrow. The last recording from Blackstone Tunnel. In March 2026, a man disappeared inside an abandoned railway tunnel. 7 days later, workers found a recorder buried behind a collapsed wall. The tape was dated 1947. At first, investigators assumed it was a mistake, until they pressed play. The voice on the recording belonged to the missing man, not someone who sounded like him, not a relative, not an actor. Him, Daniel Mercer, the same man who had vanished only a week earlier. And the first thing he said was, "If you're hearing this, don't come looking for me." What investigators discovered next would force the British government to seal the entire Blackstone Tunnel project. Because Daniel Mercer wasn't trapped underground. He was trapped somewhere else, somewhere no human being was ever supposed to reach. The recorder was found on a Thursday morning. Workers had been clearing debris from the northern maintenance shaft beneath Blackstone Tunnel, an abandoned railway passage buried beneath decades of collapsed concrete and rusted steel. The tunnel had been closed since the late 1980s. Officially, the closure was blamed on structural instability. Unofficially, nobody wanted to talk about Blackstone anymore. For years, local residents avoided the area. Train operators refused overnight inspections. Urban explorers disappeared inside and returned shaken, often refusing to explain what they had seen. Most people dismissed the stories as exaggerations. Until March of 2026. That was when Daniel Mercer vanished. Daniel was 34 years old, an experienced survey engineer, married, father of a 6-year-old daughter, no history of mental illness, no criminal record, no reason to disappear. He entered Blackstone Tunnel during a preliminary structural survey at 8:17 a.m. His body camera transmitted normally for nearly 40 minutes. Then the feed ended, just stopped. No scream, no collapse, no emergency signal. One moment, he was walking through the darkness. The next moment, he was gone. Search teams entered within 2 hours. They found his equipment, his helmet, his flashlight, his tablet. Everything except Daniel himself. The disappearance quickly became national news. Police searched for 6 days. Nothing. No footprints. No evidence. No explanation. Then, on the 7th day, workers discovered the recorder, buried beneath loose rubble behind a collapsed service wall. An old, reel-to-reel magnetic recorder, manufactured in 1947. The machine should not have worked. Yet, when technicians connected external power, the reels began turning. A voice emerged from the speakers, a calm male voice. Clear, distinct, recognizable. The voice belonged to Daniel Mercer. The problem was that the recording had been made in 1947. and Daniel Mercer had vanished only a week earlier. My name is Thomas Reed. I worked as an archival analyst for the Department of Infrastructure Recovery. Most of my job involved cataloging old records, blueprints, maintenance logs, accident reports. Nothing exciting, nothing mysterious. Until Blackstone. 3 days after the recorder was found, I received an encrypted request from the investigation team. They needed someone to review historical tunnel records. At first, I assumed they were searching for evidence of old construction accidents. Then I listened to the recording. The room fell silent. Every person present looked uncomfortable. Not because of what Daniel said, but because of how he said it. The recording began with static. Several seconds passed. Then footsteps, heavy breathing, a distant metallic echo, and finally Daniel's voice. If anyone finds this, my name is Daniel Mercer. I don't know where I am. I entered Blackstone Tunnel this morning. At least I think it was this morning. I can still remember walking inside, but something happened. The tunnel changed. The recording continued. Daniel sounded frightened, confused, yet remarkably calm considering the circumstances. He described entering a maintenance corridor that did not appear on any known blueprint. At first, he assumed he had become disoriented. Then, he noticed something impossible. The tunnel extended far beyond its documented length. According to engineering records, Blackstone measured approximately 2 kilometers. Daniel claimed he had walked for nearly 4 hours without reaching the end. The investigators initially assumed the recording was a hoax, a fabrication, an elaborate prank, until they reached the timestamp analysis. Every component of the tape was authentic. The magnetic degradation patterns matched material manufactured in the late 1940s. The dust embedded within the casing dated to the same period. The oxidation, the wiring, the real composition, everything pointed to one conclusion. The recording truly originated in 1947. Yet the speaker was unquestionably Daniel Mercer. That evening, I began examining Blackstone's historical archive. Thousands of pages, construction plans, inspection reports, personnel records. Most were ordinary. Then I found something strange. A maintenance log dated October 14th, 1947. The entry described a missing railway technician. Name, Arthur Finch. Age, 32. Occupation, signal engineer. Status, missing. Last seen, Blackstone Tunnel. No body recovered. Investigation inconclusive. At first, the case seemed irrelevant, until I opened the attached witness report. A co-worker described Arthur's final radio transmission. I read the statement twice, then a third time. The words sent a chill through my body. According to the report, Arthur repeatedly claimed He could hear someone following him, a man calling his name, someone trapped deeper inside the tunnel. When asked who the voice belonged to, Arthur gave a very specific answer. He said the voice belonged to a man named Daniel Mercer. The report was written 79 years before Daniel disappeared. That was the moment everything changed. The case ceased being a missing person investigation. It became something else, something impossible, something that should never have existed. I requested every file connected to Blackstone Tunnel. Within 24 hours, dozens of sealed records arrived. Many had never been digitized. Some were marked restricted. Others carried government classification stamps dating back decades. Several documents had entire sections removed, names blacked out, pages missing, photographs destroyed. Someone had spent years hiding information about Blackstone. The question was why? The answer appeared inside a report dated 1951. The document described a military survey conducted beneath the tunnel. Officially, the survey sought structural weaknesses. Unofficially, the investigators were searching for what they called temporal displacement events. I stared at the phrase, certain I had misunderstood. Then I read further. The report referenced multiple incidents between 1947 and 1951. Witnesses encountering individuals from different decades. Objects appearing before they had been manufactured. Voices transmitted through disconnected radio equipment. Entire conversations occurring across time. The military concluded the tunnel contained localized temporal anomalies. In simple terms, parts of Blackstone did not exist in a single year. They existed in many years simultaneously. The first anomaly had been documented in August 1947. Railway workers reported hearing voices emerging from sealed walls. The voices spoke about future events, future train schedules, future political leaders, future technologies. Most reports were dismissed. Then came Arthur Finch's disappearance. The first confirmed case. He entered the tunnel, never returned. Days later, workers discovered a recording created in 2026. The voice belonged to Daniel Mercer. The same recording found 79 years later. The same words, the same panic, the same impossible timeline. I felt sick. The recorder found in 2026 had already been found in 1947. History was looping, repeating, feeding itself. The next section of Daniel's recording became even more disturbing. His breathing grew heavier. Footsteps echoed around him. Then he spoke again. I keep hearing people. At first, I thought they were rescue teams. They're not. Some sound old. Others sound young. Some speak languages I don't recognize. And some sound exactly like me. Several seconds of silence followed. Then another voice appeared. Faint, distant, almost inaudible. Audio technicians enhanced the segment. The result terrified everyone. The second voice was Daniel. Not similar, not close. Identical. Two Daniels speaking inside the tunnel. One close to the microphone, one far away, separated by an unknown distance, or perhaps an unknown year. The investigation expanded. Additional teams entered Blackstone. New sensors, new cameras, new mapping systems. They hoped to locate hidden chambers. Instead, they discovered something impossible. The tunnel dimensions changed repeatedly. Laser scans produced contradictory results. Walls appeared where no walls existed. Passages vanished. Distances fluctuated. One survey measured 2 kilometers. Another measured 5. A third measured nearly 11. No two maps matched. It was as though Blackstone refused to remain fixed, as though reality inside the tunnel was unstable, fluid, alive. Then another person disappeared. Officer Rachel Collins, search and rescue specialist, 41 years old, highly experienced. She entered alongside a 6-person team. Security footage recorded her turning a corner. The others followed seconds later. Rachel was gone. No sounds, no footprints, no evidence, just empty tunnel. 3 days later, another recording appeared. Different device, different decade, same voice. Rachel Collins speaking from 1963. Panic spread through the investigation. The government sealed Blackstone immediately. Military personnel replaced local police. Public statements blamed toxic gas exposure. Nobody believed it. Rumors flooded social media. Time travel, government experiments, parallel realities. Most theories sounded ridiculous. The truth was somehow worse. As I continued reviewing archived files, a pattern emerged. Every disappearance connected to Blackstone shared identical characteristics. The victims never died, at least not immediately. They became displaced, moved somewhere else, somewhere beyond normal chronology. A maintenance worker vanished in 1954. His voice later appeared on a tape recorded in 1888. A railway inspector disappeared in 1972. His journal surfaced in 2039. A police officer vanished in 1986. Her radio transmission was intercepted in 1911. The tunnel wasn't killing people, it was scattering them across time. Then, investigators discovered something horrifying. Not everyone was sent backward. Some were sent forward, much farther forward. One recovered recording dated 2087. Another originated from 2014. Several referenced events that had not yet occurred. Most disturbing of all, Many future recordings describe Blackstone itself. The tunnel still existed, still active, still claiming people. Decades from now, perhaps centuries, Daniel's final tape contained a section that remained classified for months. I eventually gained access. I wish I hadn't. The recording began with rapid breathing, running footsteps, metallic impacts. Then Daniel whispered, "I found them." Silence. Then, "They're all here." The investigators initially assumed he meant missing persons. The reality was worse. Daniel continued, "I found every version of them, every year, every age. Some are older, some are younger, some aren't born yet. They're all trapped here." The audio crackled violently. Then Daniel started crying, not loudly, not hysterically, quietly, the way someone cries after seeing something they cannot process. "There are hundreds of them." His voice broke. "Maybe thousands." A loud metallic sound echoed through the tunnel. Then Daniel spoke words that haunted the entire investigation. "And I found myself." The tape ended abruptly. For several minutes, nobody in the review room spoke. Nobody knew what to say. Months passed. Officially, the case remained unresolved. Unofficially, Blackstone became the largest classified investigation in modern British history. Entire scientific teams were assembled. Physicists, mathematicians, military analysts. None could explain the phenomenon. The tunnel violated everything known about reality. Yet, evidence continued accumulating. Then came the discovery that changed everything. Deep within the oldest maintenance chamber, investigators found a steel door. The door did not appear on any blueprint. Carbon dating suggested impossible results. Some samples indicated 19th century steel. Others suggested material manufactured decades in the future. The door should not have existed. Yet there it was, waiting, sealed, locked. When the door was finally opened, personnel entered cautiously. The chamber beyond measured approximately 20 meters wide, completely empty, except for one object. A recorder. Another recorder. This one newer than the others. The attached label read, "For Thomas Reed," my name. My exact name, written in my own handwriting. I was summoned immediately. The recorder sat alone on a steel table, waiting. Nobody touched it. Nobody wanted to, because everyone already knew what it meant. The recorder came from somewhere inside Blackstone, and somehow it was intended for me. I remember staring at it for nearly a minute, my hands shaking. Then I pressed play. Static filled the room. Several seconds passed. Then a voice emerged. My voice. Older, tired, broken. If you're hearing this, you still have time. Every person in the room froze. I continued listening, unable to stop. The tunnel isn't random. It isn't malfunctioning. It's growing. Static crackled. Then, it feeds on observation. Every investigation makes it stronger. Every map, every measurement, every attempt to understand it. I felt cold, a deep, instinctive terror spreading through my chest. We thought we were studying Blackstone. We were wrong. Blackstone was studying us. The recording continued. My future self explained that the tunnel behaved like a living system, a predator. It used time itself as a hunting ground. The more people entered, the larger it became. The more timelines it connected. Eventually it spread beyond the railway, beyond the valley, beyond the county. Entire regions began experiencing anomalies. People hearing future conversations. Children describing events decades before they happened. Objects appearing from different centuries. Reality slowly unraveling. Then came the final warning. The reason the message existed. Daniel wasn't the first. My future voice whispered. He wasn't even close. A pause. Then, you need to find the chamber beneath marker 12. Several pages of notes followed. Coordinates, measurements, instructions, all written by me, or a future version of me. The final sentence nearly stopped my heart. Whatever happens, do not let them open the second door. The recording ended. The investigation immediately focused on marker 12. 3 days later, the chamber was located, hidden beneath layers of collapsed concrete. Exactly where the message indicated. Inside, investigators discovered another steel door, larger, older, covered with strange markings. Nobody recognized the symbols, not historians, not linguists, not archaeologists. The markings appeared to change slightly between photographs, as if they refused to remain constant, as if they belonged to no single language, no single era. Orders were issued. The door would remain sealed permanently. For the first time since the investigation began, caution prevailed. Nobody wanted another disappearance. Nobody wanted another recorder. Nobody wanted another impossible message from another impossible year. For several weeks, operations slowed. The tunnel remained quiet. Then someone opened the door. To this day, nobody knows who gave the order. No record exists. No authorization was found. Yet the door opened. For exactly 37 seconds. And during those 37 seconds, every monitoring system inside Blackstone failed. Every camera, every sensor, every radio. Everything went dark. When systems recovered, 17 people were missing, not dead, missing, gone, as though they had never been there. And something else had changed. The tunnel maps expanded again, this time dramatically. Passages extended beyond known geological boundaries. Corridors appeared beneath rivers, beneath towns, beneath entire sections of countryside. Blackstone was no longer a tunnel. It was becoming a network, a labyrinth, a wound spreading through time. The last document I ever received arrived 6 months later. No sender, no explanation. Inside was a single photograph. The image showed a tunnel corridor illuminated by weak yellow lights. Hundreds of people stood within it. Some wore Victorian clothing. Others wore modern uniforms. Some appeared to belong to future decades, all staring directly at the camera. Among them stood Daniel Mercer, Rachel Collins, Arthur Finch, every missing person connected to Blackstone. And near the center, I saw myself, older, much older, holding a recorder. Looking directly into the lens, behind us stood a doorway, open, dark, infinite, and written above the doorway were 4 words. Words that appeared in dozens of recovered recordings. Words that continue appearing today. Words investigators still cannot explain. The tunnel is still growing. No official report has ever acknowledged Blackstone Tunnel. The government denies its existence. Records continue disappearing. Witnesses continue remaining silent. Yet, every few months, another recorder is found somewhere in Britain. An attic, a railway station, a construction site, a flooded cellar. Each contains the same sound, distant footsteps, metal echoing through darkness, and a voice calling from somewhere impossible. A voice that doesn't belong to the past or the future. A voice trapped somewhere in between, waiting, listening, growing closer every year, every decade, every timeline. And if the final recording is genuine, one day Blackstone Tunnel will no longer be beneath the earth. One day it will reach the surface. And when it does, every missing voice will come with it, or something far worse, end.